Max alert in the DMV. Folks really think Miami is going to steamroll Washington and Madrid. No way. The veteran quarterback is locked in to drop a surprise punch with everything on the line. But hold up. Another brutal loss just hit this roster. Without that elite backup blocker, the whole offensive plan looks like it's falling apart. Or is it? Because here comes what Miami did not see coming. A 3-time Pro Bowl secret weapon is about to rip apart that Achilles heel in coverage. You want to know exactly how Washington is going to attack that fatal weakness. This is pure gold for Cliff Kingsbury, and if you miss how this veteran is about to make history, you're going to regret it. Let's be real about something a lot of people don't want to admit. Marcus Mariota is having the most unexpected season of a backup in a long time. 5 starts as QB1. 5. When was the last time a backup quarterback had that kind of run in Washington? Since Adam Peters walked into this building, every move has been calculated, and bringing in Mariota was no accident. Dan Quinn came out this week and said something that gave everybody chills. Side Marcus isn't just a leader in the quarterback room, he's a leader for the whole squad. Think about that. A veteran who showed up fully aware Jaden Daniels was the future, but still prepped every single week like it was going to be Mariota taking that first snap. And now, when this team needs it the most, Marcus is the one flying out to Madrid to represent the burgundy and gold on the international stage. But here's what most folks aren't seeing. Mariota has 13 starts since 2022 from that Atlanta stint, but that was different. Back then, he was the cemented QB1. In Washington, these 5 starts came without that "you're the guy" from day one setup. And still, he's kept this team competitive. He's kept hope alive. When there's a veteran who understands the moment and doesn't fold under pressure, that's worth straight gold in this league. Quinn also hammered something crucial. The presence and support from Marcus is felt everywhere. Teammates see the grind behind the scenes. They see the work at practice, the constant self-challenge, the technique, the total pro mentality. Ask yourself this. How many backups in this league really get that level of respect in the locker room? Not many. Folks in the DMV have seen it all. Big-name QBs rolling in with all the hype and then falling flat. Veterans showing up just to collect a check. Mariota is different. And what stands out the most is how he's handled this whole situation with Jaden. When Washington drafted Daniels with the 2nd overall pick, everyone knew that was the future. Mariota knew it too. Instead of sulking or stirring drama, Marcus became the best mentor Jaden could ask for. Showed how to read NFL defenses, how to handle the media heat in this town. Now that Jaden is out with that elbow injury, Mariota is ready to keep this ship afloat. Sunday at 9:30 in the morning Eastern, when most of the NFL is still half asleep, Marcus Mariota is going to be under those bright lights at Santiago Bernabeu, repping Washington. And this is not the same Mariota from 3 years ago. This is a quarterback who's matured, who gets the role, and is determined to squeeze every last drop out of every opportunity. Remember when people thought having a legit backup didn't really matter? This season shut that down. While Jerry Jones is over in Dallas praying Dak Prescott stays upright with no real plan B, Washington is rolling into Madrid with a tested veteran ready for a fight. The Cowboys are sitting there with Cooper Rush as the backup. And honestly, how many of you trust Rush to win big games? Exactly. With Mariota, there's real trust. Here's what has everybody fired up for this one. Mariota has been on big stages before. 2nd overall pick back in 2015. Pro Bowler. Playoff wins. This is someone who knows what it takes in this league. The last few years might not have been peak Mariota, but that winner's mindset never left. The grind never stopped. The belief never died. No, Marcus isn't Jaden Daniels. Nobody is. But what Mariota brings is experience, leadership, and a winning mentality this team desperately needs after 5 straight losses. Most important thing, the locker room believes in him. In sports, that belief is everything. When the quarterback steps in that huddle and the entire group knows this person is about to empty the tank for the squad, It changes the whole energy. And don't forget this. Mariota has real chemistry with these receivers. Has been working with them all year. Knows their roots, their tendencies, where they like to be when the game gets tight. That connection matters. In a Cliff Kingsbury offense built to get the ball out fast and attack space, Mariota's skill set fits right in. Is Miami really ready for a crafty vet like Marcus? Doubt it. They've been gearing up for Jaden's dual-threat chaos and that explosive mobility. Mariota's a different puzzle. He's going to work the field with his arm, read defenses pre-snap, make the right checks. That might be the edge Washington needs to finally snap this skid. If that caught you off guard. Buckle up, because the next piece of news hits right where it hurts the most. You have got to be kidding. Just when it felt like the injury bug had done enough damage, the word drops that Ben Sinnott is out for Sunday. The backup tight end is ruled out the day before with that ankle issue. How many pieces can Washington lose before this crucial matchup? This is turning into a straight horror movie for Commanders fans. A lot of folks are probably thinking, it's just a backup tight end, not a big deal. Let's break down why it's a lot bigger than it looks. Sinnott has been a key piece in the run game all year. This kid came out of Kansas State with a serious rep as an elite blocker, and that's exactly what he's been in Washington. When you see Brian Robinson Jr. or Austin Eckler busting runs outside, a lot of the time it's Sinnott sealing that edge, creating those crucial lanes. The box score doesn't tell that story. 3 catches, 33 yards, and 1 touchdown over 10 games. Modest numbers? Sure. But pull up the tape and study how this offense runs the ball. That's where Sinnott's value shows up. He's been rock solid blocking in space, opening gaps, locking down the line, doing all the dirty work that never shows up in the stat sheet, but absolutely wins football games. Now stack it all together. No Jaden Daniels. No Terry McLaurin, the clear number 1 receiver and safety valve for years. No Treylon Burks, who had just started the vibe with Mariota. And now no Sinnott. Marcus Mariota is about to run this offense with 4 rotational receivers, down plus the backup tight end gone. This is a straight stress test for the depth on this roster. Remember Burks leading the team in receiving last week against Detroit? Guess what? Not available. So who's Mariota turning to? Where are the money plays coming from? These are the questions keeping Commanders fans up at night. When you lose that many key pieces, especially at the skill spots, your entire game plan gets flipped. And here's the real concern. Miami is coming off a 30-13 beatdown of Buffalo. The Bills, a team most people still see as one of the heavyweights in the AFC. The Dolphins have momentum. 2 wins in the last 3 after starting 1-6. Mike McDaniel has that offense humming. Tyreek Hill is doing Tyreek Hill things, and the defense is starting to find rhythm. Meanwhile, Washington hasn't won since Week 5, when they stunned the Chargers in Los Angeles. 5 straight losses, heading to Madrid with a shredded roster. But this is exactly where a window opens. Yeah, a real opportunity. When a team is backed into a corner, and everybody has already written them off, that's when real warriors stand up. There are warriors in that locker room. Quinn is the head coach, someone who's been to the mountaintop, who knows how to light a fire under a team in tough moments. Mariota is the on-field leader, a player who's been through all the battles and knows how to handle the grind. And that burgundy and gold pride runs deep. Vegas probably has Washington as heavy underdogs. National media likely already penciled this in as an easy W for Miami. But how many times have NFL teams shocked the world when nobody gave them a chance? This Sunday has that kind of feel. When there's nothing to lose and everyone expects failure, players can cut it loose and play totally free. Losing Sinnott hurts. No sugarcoating that. But it also forces creativity. Forces this staff to find new ways to attack. With a vet like Mariota steering things, someone who's seen everything this league throws at quarterbacks, there's real reason to think Washington can still compete. Maybe Curtis Hodges, the practice squad tight end, has to step up big time. Maybe John Bates has to take on more of the blocking load. Maybe Cliff Kingsbury dials up a game plan that leans less on traditional run concepts and more on quick-hitting passing and misdirection. There's also a real shot for other players to shine. This is how new names are made in this league. Someone nobody is talking about makes one hell of a play in a critical moment, and suddenly that's the name on every talk show. Washington needs exactly that kind of breakout in Madrid. Zoom out and look at the bigger picture. Adam Peters is clearly building something long-term here. He knows injuries are baked into the NFL. That's why he stacked depth across the board, worked free agency aggressively, and attacked the draft the way he did. Now is the time to see if all that depth can really hold up when things are at their toughest. The situation is rough. The bodies are thin. But this group has shown resilience all season. They've battled in every single game, even in the losses. That says something about their character and mentality. This is not a team that's just going to tap out because circumstances got ugly. And just when it felt like that was everything, here comes the wild card. The one weapon Miami simply does not have an answer for. Anybody saying this game is already lost is out of their mind. Here's why. Zach Ertz is lined up for an absolute field day on Sunday, and there's cold, hard evidence to back that up. This isn't wishful thinking. This is straight film and data. At 35, Zach Ertz has basically seen and done everything in the NFL, three-time Pro Bowler. Super Bowl champ with Philly back in 2018, catching that massive touchdown against New England. Battle-tested veteran. In Washington, what stood out is how reliable Ertz has been in an offense that has struggled to find consistent playmakers. Whether it's Jaden Daniels or Marcus Mariota under center, Ertz has stayed healthy enough to be on the field, available, and doing everything possible to produce on Sundays. Let's hit the chalkboard for a second. Miami's defense is fast and talented, but nowhere near flawless. The biggest soft spot? Linebacker coverage. Jordan Brooks and Tyrell Dodson have been getting picked on over and over again. If you want numbers, here they are. Through 10 games, those two have been targeted a combined 90 times and have given up 758 passing yards. That's the most of any linebacker duo in football. Guess who eats against that exact weakness? Zach Ertz. Opposing tight ends and slot receivers have been finding open grass over the middle non-stop, and that's exactly where Ertz lives. He thrives on those short and intermediate routes, slipping into soft spots in zone, presenting as a big, trustworthy target between the hash marks. When Miami sits in that base cover 3, Ertz is going to camp out right in those windows between the linebackers and safeties. Bet on Mariota finding that matchup again and again. Now, here's the chess move. Miami's pass rush can absolutely fly, led by Bradley Chubb, Chop Robinson, and Kenneth Grant. Those guys can get home in under 3 seconds. That means Mariota has to get the ball out fast. That's where Ertz is perfect. The ability to shake free quickly, settle into a spot, and be that safety valve under pressure gives Washington an escape hatch when the heat comes. Ertz is that dependable friend who shows up every single time the phone rings. No, Ertz isn't the same player from 5 years back. At this point in the career, it's more catch and fall than break 3 tackles for 15 extra. The burst after the catch isn't what it used to be. But the reliability and feel for space can stack up into a quietly huge day. In football, steady yards move the chains and win games. You don't always need the 40-yard bomb if you can keep drives alive. Look at the past 3 weeks. Ertz hasn't hit the end zone, but has stayed productive. Over that stretch, 12 catches total, including 4 for 54 yards last week versus Detroit, second-best yardage game of the season. Only behind that 62-yard outing in Week 2 at Green Bay. That tells you this veteran is finding ways to contribute, even while the offense is sputtering and the team is struggling. In a game that kicks off early at 9:30 Eastern, before most of the league's fan bases have even poured coffee. That veteran poise from Ertz might define how well this Washington offense runs against Miami. If the Commander's staff sees the same stuff on tape that everyone else sees, The Stanford product should be heavily featured and probably lead the passing game in targets. Expect Ertz to see at least 10 balls thrown away. If Ertz is quiet, that means one of two things for Washington. Either somebody else stepped up and took over, or the entire passing game got shut down. Both are possible. But the bet here is that Ertz becomes Mariota's number one option, especially on those money downs. 3rd and 7, season hanging in the balance. Where is that ball going? To the veteran who's made that play literally hundreds and hundreds of times. There's another angle. While the Eagles are trying to get new tight ends up to speed after losing Dallas Goedert, and the Cowboys are leaning on inexperienced guys because they never invested properly in that position, Washington has a 3-time Pro Bowler who knows every route, every adjustment, every trick for attacking a defense like Miami's. That level of experience is priceless. Ertz might not be the flashiest name on this Washington roster. Not going to be on every SportsCenter highlight. Not the player flooding social media with crazy clips. But the ability to exploit coverage gaps and keep drives alive is massive for Commanders. Team desperate for something positive to build on. In a lot of ways, Ertz is the heartbeat of this offense, the one making the unsexy, but absolutely necessary plays. Getting to 4 and 7 doesn't suddenly change the national narrative on the burgundy and gold. But this group badly needs something to hang on to after the last month. It all starts with Ertz this week. If he has a strong game and helps Mariota find an early rhythm, that can open up everything else. So here's the question. Do you think Ertz clears 80 receiving yards on Sunday? Can he hit the end zone against those Miami linebackers who just can't cover? The belief here is yes. Expect vintage Zach Ertz, the one who wins in crunch time, converts 3rd and 8, and somehow shakes loose when everything is collapsing around the play. From Miami's side, the focus is going to be on stuffing the run, especially knowing the edge blocking takes a hit without Sinnott. They'll want pressure with the front four so they don't have to blitz. When they commit to stopping the run and still try to get home with 4, that's when Ertz is going to feast. Those linebackers are going to be stuck in coverage, chasing a tight end who has been working the middle of the field at a high level for more than a decade. On top of that, the chemistry between Mariota and Ertz is legit. They've had all season to build that bond. Mariota knows Ertz will be in the right spot. Knows that if the ball is thrown to a specific window, Ertz is going to show up. That kind of trust doesn't magically appear. It comes from reps, time, and shared experience. Now it's time for that chemistry to cash in. So let's run this back, Commanders fans. Veteran leadership on display in Madrid, with Marcus Mariota ready to show exactly why Adam Peters trusted that signing at QB2. Tough losses forcing adjustments, with Sinnott out but the roster depth Peters built being put to the test. And a secret weapon in Zach Ertz primed to torch Miami's biggest weakness and carry. This offense on those experienced shoulders. What's the feeling on Mariota leading this team overseas? Can the composure hold up and guide this squad to a win? Are the injuries just too much to overcome? Or is this the perfect chance for depth guys to prove they belong? And are you riding with the idea that Zach Ertz is going to have a massive day against those Miami linebackers that have been getting burned all season? Drop it in the comments. Every comment gets read. And it's always a blast going back and forth with this. Fan base about the team everyone here bleeds for. If you believe Mariota can snap this 5-game losing streak and carry Washington to a win, hit that like button right now. If you think Ertz is about to cook those linebackers and go over 80 receiving yards, subscribe to the channel. This burgundy and gold family needs to keep growing. And if you want the deepest, most passionate Commanders breakdowns anywhere on YouTube, the kind of analysis that mixes real stats with real DMV fan energy, turn on those notifications. Because there's more roster news and game prep coming your way tomorrow, Doc. This is Family Commanders fans. We ride together in the good and the bad. This season hasn't lived up to the promise of that early start, but nobody's walking away from this squad. Nobody's giving up belief. That's what it means to rock the burgundy and gold. It means sticking around when things get ugly. It means backing the players who are out there emptying the tank for this franchise. It means believing that every single Sunday is one more chance to show what this team and this fan base is made of. See you Sunday at 9:30 in the morning, bright and early, to find out if this team can shock the world in Madrid. Get that coffee ready, set those alarms, and let's cheer on Washington on international soil. And remember, hail to the Redskins.